Hello and welcome back to the Nest and Inside the Iggles live show. Thank you guys very much for joining us again on day 5 of Wild Card Week. Today we're zoning in on this game. You know, yesterday we talked about kind of a global thing, what's going on with the wild card, the whole weekend and everything like that. But today we're locking in on the matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the Monday game. Guys, it is not just me today. We got Brandon Pockris joining us. Brandon, how you doing?
I am back. I have not been able to be here the past few days, but hey, last show before the game, got to be here. We got to preview this big game for whatever outcome happens because
Yes.
there's sure a lot of different things that are happening with the Eagles right now.
Yeah, this is kind of a chaotic do or die kind of time for the Eagles and for another team in the NFC East. But maybe we'll get to that. First things first, you weren't here talking about all the head coaching retirings, firings, and hirings and firings. Given it between Alabama with Nick Saban and Pete Carroll with the Seahawks and Bill Belichick with the Patriots and their new hiring. When they did you have any of those on your mind when like it all, because that was in a 2-day span, right?
Belichick, yes, because you had
Yeah.
been hearing those rumblings throughout. It was just a matter of how they pulled the trigger and what they did. What ended up happening with them hiring Gerard Mayo, yeah, that's basically what I anticipated, where you quote unquote keep it in the family
Yep.
and basically have the same Patriots way, the same thing. Maybe it's tweaked a little bit, but they weren't gonna for that first hire just go after the X candidate or Y candidate, right?
Did you
So
think that Vrabel was a chance for that at all?
I did,
Yeah.
but the way they went about it makes sense. They didn't, because Vrabel has interest from other teams.
Right.
Mayo, it comes out ironically that he has the clause in his contract that he's next in line. That whole situation, I'm interested to see where Belichick ends up. But the Saban one, I didn't think it would be now. I didn't think he would go out after a college football playoff loss. I
It,
thought
it
I thought he'd give it one more run and try to make another championship.
Did you see any of it, like his quotes or like anything like
Yes.
that after? And he was like, "This was like the hardest season for me." Like,
Yeah.
okay,
I mean, I also think you got to consider, like, whether you're a fan of it or not, like the NIL does have an impact on coaches, and you
yeah,
do have to put that much more effort forward because
yeah,
there's now another factor in the recruiting aspect and keeping guys at the school and all of that. And then the
yeah,
Pete Carroll thing, that's the one I didn't anticipate
yeah, exactly. That was
because
bizarre.
it kind of felt like they were on the upswing. And yes, I know they weren't as good this year as they were last year. They were over 500. They were a good team. They were a team that battled all year. But compared to other organizations, evidently the Seahawks hold themselves to a higher standard.
Right.
See, the Seahawks aren't content with that and maybe realized, hey, we might be capped out soon, might be time to try a different direction. So I obviously think Carroll is an amazing coach. I think if he wanted to coach somewhere else, he very easily could.
Yep.
But I also understand the Seahawks' reasoning for what they did. It's like one of those ones where it's like you can argue the one side, you can argue the other side. Regardless, I think there's an argument to be made for both.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys. Like, I think he's definitely going to stay on with the Seahawks. I don't know about a head coaching thing anymore because he's
Well,
kind of old school.
the thing is, you would think he would, but he also said he's still interested in coaching.
Yeah, I'm just wondering because again, he's such an old school guy. It's very old fashioned the way he does it, but I guess it works for him. We'll see how that goes. Okay, let's get into the Eagles stuff. Today, AJ Brown deactivated his Twitter and deleted all football related things from his Instagram. This is bad.
So here's my thing, right? Came across something earlier today where it said, guys, it's not a big deal. He did this before last playoff run. He said that he was going to do this in one of his press conferences. If someone wants to verify that for me, I don't know. I didn't come across that with anything I've read or heard from AJ Brown. This is the first I've seen of this. But even with that being said, we were kind of talking about it pre-show. The context surrounding it, even if he doesn't mean anything by it, right? It's still not great. It's still not great.
I see Zach says just saw him put an Eagles post on his. Oh, the word you left off there, Zach, is the important thing. The last word, was that Twitter or is that his Instagram? Because I'm very locked in on this. Probably his Instagram, right? Because if his Twitter's deactivated,
Probably, yeah.
it's so hard to find him too. Let's see, AJ Brown.
Isn't it always, or is that his Twitter handle?
That's his Instagram. Nope, this is AJ Brown today. That his Instagram. This is his Instagram handle is 1K always open underscore, and he's not verified, and it's so hard to find him because everybody it just does plays off. It was on the Eagle. It was an Eagles fan. Yeah, that's one I just saw too. It was an Eagles fan. It was a fan page. So not good. Guys don't delete all football things off of, like, if he just went dark on Twitter, okay, I get it. But the deleting of all football things on the Instagram is just, it's bad. It's bad vibes.
It's like LeBron used to have the thing everyone would call 0 dark 30 when he would just delete his Twitter for the playoffs and just lock in.
Yep.
That's one thing. The Instagram is just another thing where it's like, could we be reading into it too much? Probably. Yeah, probably. But
I probably am.
It's, for me, it's just a matter of that coinciding with all of the other stuff is the kicker, right? If it's just AJ deleting his Instagram and the Eagles are 13-2 or 13-3 or something, and they have the 1 seed and all is well, then it's like, all right, you delete his Instagram, so what? When you have that combined with the Eagles having one of the worst collapses in recent memory in terms of where they started to where they finished, in terms of the fact that Sirianni, the rumors of him getting on the hot seat keep getting louder and louder.
Yep.
The fact that, you look at this game, they're not exactly in the best spot to win. Obviously have a great shot, but not in the best spot. This is like another kicker to it.
Yep.
And I'm not, and in a vacuum, who cares? It's an Instagram, right?
Right.
But on top of everything else, it just drives that narrative, unfortunately, that something is wrong.
And he's a noted unhinged guy on Twitter too. So it's like he is active on it. It's just a diarrhea floater on a shit cocktail is what it is. It's not good. The other thing, we got some more, and this kind of coincides with that. The injury report for the teams start with Tampa Bay first. The only person that did not practice for the Buccaneers this week or today was Chris Godwin, and that was a rest day. Tristan Wirfs was limited after he was out yesterday from an illness. Baker Mayfield was limited today after he was out yesterday with ankle and ribs. Josh Hayes, defensive back, he was limited again. Mike Green, full practice. KJ Britt, limited practice. As far as the Eagles go, and this is going to be, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. DeAndre Swift, again, full practice. Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift, full practice. Devontae Smith, full practice. Slay, full practice. We all knew that. Jalen Hurts, full practice today after limited yesterday, so he did throw the ball today. And I saw an incredibly grainy, zoomed-in video of him doing it, and the ball looked grainy, and I couldn't tell anything. Britton Covey, again, limited with a groin. Sidney Brown, we know, not entirely sure why they still haven't put him on the IR. Maybe they're waiting until the day before the game. A.J. Brown did not practice again, and Reed Blankenship did not practice again with a groin. Not good.
What for you, right? What's the biggest one on that list?
Oh, it's hard to say. It's hard. It's obviously Gainwell or AJ. I want to
Right.
say it's probably AJ because AJ's the offense is the only thing that can get this team to win anything,
Right.
to win a game. But there's depth there. There's depth at wide receiver. There's one healthy cornerback or safety on this team on the 53-man roster, and that's Kevin Byard, and he's not good. He's not good. They had Avonte Maddox going back and taking some snaps at safety. Man, I think I gotta say Blankenship. I think I gotta say Blankenship.
Yeah, because, if you have Devonta as a full practice,
Right.
then of course, if AJ is limited or doesn't play, I obviously think he's going to tough it out regardless. And I think he will be on the field. But at least you have a number one. At least you still have Dallas Goedert. At least you still have DeAndre Swift, right?
Right.
You have weapons on the offense, plus a really good offensive line. If Blankenship doesn't play,
Ugh.
this Eagles secondary was already horrifying. What would the Bucks just spam the middle of the field at that point? Be like, all right, so you have no linebackers and you have no safeties. You're not stopping us, right? Where like it's already been such a problem. And then you add to that issue by having one of your best guys
Right.
not being on the field. Sidney Brown is already a hit to that position. The fact that he was starting to come on late. So now you're looking at it like a weakness in this matchup is now that much worse. And
Yeah.
that can't happen. You're already in a bad spot with your defense.
Reed was really, as far as with Sidney Brown out, well, yeah, Reed was really the only guy who could make tackles in that defensive backfield.
Yeah.
It's not good. And that's what aside from coverages, which I'm not entirely sure will be there, or the coverages will be bad and everything.
Yeah, we're like just tackling.
Just tackling in and of
Look at
itself.
all the highlights from the Giants game, whether it's two players tackling each other. At linebacker, at safety, at cornerback, Reed is that consistent guy in terms of the tackling, and he's been that all year. And he's been solid in coverage too. I'm
He's
not
been
saying
burned
he's
a few
been
times, but like he's a
yeah,
UDFA. You're gonna expect that kind of a thing to happen.
and you're banking on him developing and getting better and better each week. And the fact that that guy isn't the liability on the defense, and the fact that you might have to switch Avonte Maddox to a position he hasn't played all season in the playoffs on a defense that is already having communication issues
Right.
next to Byard, who hasn't exactly lived up to the billing when the Eagles traded for him.
It's not good.
I don't know what anyone expects. Like, I get it, right? You look at this game, Eagles, Buccaneers. Eagles team that has all the talent in the world and should be really good. A Buccaneers team that was in a horrible NFC South. Honestly, got to get those early preconceived notions out of your head. The Buccaneers have all the tools necessary on offense to exploit a healthy
They sure
Eagles
do.
defense. What do you think they have to exploit an Eagles defense that is without their top safety? Or my bad, probably two of their top three safeties.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's bad. And looking at when I talked about this before, when I was kind of like reliving the week 3 game, Mike Evans on 9, he got targeted on 9 of, or no, he got targeted on 5 of the 9 Buccaneers third downs. And I think
That rate's going to be higher on Sunday
it's gonna
or
be
Monday. My apologies.
it's gonna be so high. It's gonna be bad. What did if you knew going out of if you knew that Reed Blankenship was going out this game, what would your plan have been? Do you like the Avonte Maddox thing going back there? What is your optimal situation for this?
Well, it depends, right?
I can tell you mine
Because
if you want to think about yours.
no, I have mine. It just
Okay.
it's twofold. It's either move Maddox, or if I feel that he's too valuable, I'm getting all the UDFA corners, whether it be Ricks, Job, the rest of those, or Ringo,
Ringo.
even all those young guys be like, all right, all you are trying out at safety this week. Whoever is the best is starting on Sunday.
So the other here's that's yeah, I mean, well, okay, they have Tristan McCollum still, Zion McCollum's twin brother. But he doesn't know Matt Patricia's defense.
This is my thing, right? I'm not playing around with the UDFAs that haven't been on the roster.
That's good point.
I would, in a worst case scenario, the best of the worst case is taking the talented guys and from the college ranks who might have not had the best breaks during their college years and were UDFAs and being like, hey, this is your shot to not only solidify yourself now, but for the future.
So
Who's to say that Keely Ringo's ability to twist and running coverage is now mitigated because he's at safety. Maybe he's
right.
a stellar safety. Like, we don't know. Maybe Ricks, who might not be able to run as well with some wide receivers, is just great coming downhill and being in a deep zone. Like, there's always that possibility.
Yeah, get a guy who can hawk it.
And at the very worst, your defense is the same it's been the entire year. At the very best, you're filling a position of need, you're getting good production, and maybe that switch helps you win the ball game.
Here for me, here's my and Courtney says this: Brad Nair should not play in the playoffs. Courtney,
maybe that's the switch.
That is what I was going to say.
Maybe that's the switch,
because we can't run Bradbury back next year. We can't do it. We cannot do that. He's lost his step. He's gone. If you want, and it's a pretty decent dead cap hit if they get rid of Bradbury. Throw him at safety. See if his lack of speed, like you said, maybe Eli Ricks can't cover people at the corner that well. Bradbury clearly can't, but he's incredibly smart. He's a smart player. If there's anybody that's going to be able to kind of be able to find out what the hell Matt Patricia's doing back there, I believe that it would be a James Bradbury. And then I want to keep seeing Ringo out on the side. If you do that, it's a great, because this is a game. Slay is back. Bradbury's healthy. What are they going to do with Ringo? What are they going to do with Ricks? Specifically, Ringo is the one that I'm more excited about. But that way you can have Ringo on the field. I feel like this is the way, because otherwise you're throwing Bradley Roby back on the field if you throw Eli Ricks back in the safety.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Can't have that.
Get young.
Can't have that.
Keep the average age down on the field, man.
It's basically the Charles Woodson plan, where the Packers, towards the end of his career, moved him back to safety, and he like reinvented himself. Obviously, that's like the tippy top ceiling of what you want from that switch, but there's always room for that. There's always room for a guy to adjust to a position really well, whether it be a young guy or whether it be Bradbury, the older corner on the roster. No matter what it is, they have to try something, because if you're just throwing McCollum back there, and I'm not saying McCollum's a bad player, but he's not.
He's just not the guy.
But you're just putting him in such a bad position where it's like, hey, first game really playing this year, guess what you have to do? Shut down Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Trey Palmer.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. This is really, really hoping that tomorrow we get at least an LP next to Reed Blankenship's name rather than the DNP. Sneaky bad one is, and probably I would say the most consistent player of the three, Britton Covey.
Yeah.
Because, and I brought this up looking back at the game. Britton, he's good. He had 81 return yards on 3 punt returns against the Buccaneers in week 3. One of those was a 52-yard return. And I said that I did a Jake's takes. I said that that Britton Covey is going to either return a ball into the red zone or get the kick return that we have been hoping and praying for. So him being out, that's kind of sneaky. That's sneaky bad, because after that, they could probably do Boston Scott or Olamide Zacchaeus back there. I would assume would be the other two people.
I completely agree with you because special teams is like one of those things where it's the old analogy, you don't know what you have until it's gone.
Yep.
Field position can change the entire game in blink of an eye. What if you put a guy back there that hasn't returned all season and they make a decision to take out a punt or a kick that they shouldn't have? Now all of a sudden the Eagles are pinned at the 15 instead of the 25. Yeah, in your mind, maybe that isn't the biggest change, but maybe those 10 yards are the difference between Tampa, when they get the ball back, kicking a field goal and then punting it away. Field position, especially in the postseason, is critical. And there's a reason why Covey's been getting some of the recognition he's been getting in league circles and with these awards, where you have a guy like that consistently takes advantage and is smart and knows when to give and when to take, right? That can be the difference between putting your team in a position to win and costing your team a game.
Yeah, that's why special teams are. I mean, yeah, and it's a field position thing, like you said. That's why special teams are the reason that there's so many teams that have downfalls in the postseason, like Rams sneaky on notice for having the worst special teams in the league. And then also on top of this, the Eagles. What is this going to be? Their like 7th rain game this year. Who's good at fielding punts in the rain? Britton Covey. You're gonna have a guy field his first punt, or maybe
good luck.
First handful of punts of the season in the rain. That sucks. That sneaky sucks.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at with that. Okay, let's get into the matchups for the Eagles defense to the Buccaneers offense. We already touched on some of them. We touched on Mike Evans and how he's just absolutely going to explode this game. What are some of them that like low key that you're kind of thinking of? Some of the lower matchups that like between the Eagles defense and the Buccaneers offense.
So I mean, look, the Evans one is kind of a given, right? It's going to be interesting to see if they have Slay just travel with him, or if they're more of, all right, Slay's on this side and Ringo / Bradbury is on the other, and we're just going to leave it like that. Because in that situation, the latter, I personally think you're leaving you're leaving your defense open to being exploited, where the Tampa can just manipulate things to always have Evans in that most ideal matchup. But and I get it, because maybe the Eagle scheme is, oh, we just want to have our guys on the same sides they've always been. You got to make adjustments in games like this. And I think that matchup is obviously priority number 1. Priority number 2 is how they handle Chris Godwin. Because Godwin's that unique player where he can line up outside, but he does so much damage in the slot. Avonte Maddox hasn't been, I'd say, great in his return. I'm not saying he's been just this absolute liability. I think a lot of that's been more of the linebackers that are lined up with some of the slot guys or tight ends, but
not really lined up. They're still communicating. They're still actually talking right now about where to line up.
That's the one where I'm like, that can be the difference between Tampa going up like 10 points or this being like a 3 to 6 point game for the majority of it. Because he's exactly the type of receiver that I think this team will struggle with.
Yep.
Great route running. Eagles don't exactly have the best linebackers or slot corners if Maddox isn't playing at that high level to shut that down. He also is a very good yards after catch threat. As we brought to light earlier, Eagles can't tackle lately. They showed that last week. They showed that against the Cardinals. They simply can't tackle. So, how they decide to try to shut down Godwin while also trying to shut down Evans will tell me a lot. Maybe they have made a stride forward with their scheme. Maybe in this week they did experiment with some new things and try to specifically shut down what Tampa Bay does the best. Am I confident in that? No, not at all. But there's always that possibility. And then a sneaky other one or other two, Cade Otton
Yep.
and Trey Palmer. Rashad White is more of like, I'm not sure yet because it depends what type of game plan Tampa Bay comes out in. If they're pass heavy, then White is a sneaky X factor. But until you see that start of the game, you're not really going to have a great idea of how the Eagles defense is going to be attacked and how the Eagles defense is going to attack that aspect of the game. Auden and Palmer are interesting because Palmer, who's a rookie, very fast, very good deep threat. How do the Eagles safeties, how do the Eagles back seven communicate with that and handle a guy like that? I'm very interested to see how that happens because that offers a 7-point swing in and of itself. And then with Cade Auden, not the best tight end in the league, but solid, good enough to make plays. Eagles have been horrendous against the tight end
The
position
entire season.
the entire season. If Tampa Bay really wants to put the Eagles in a twist, put their like scheme in a twist, they should target him. If I'm Tampa Bay looking at this matchup, a tendency breaker I'm having is I'm going tight end heavy very early on in the game, where I'm attacking that middle of the field. I'm giving Auden all those looks. I'm moving the chains in that way to where when the Eagles then try to adjust to those types of plays, now I start targeting Godwin. Now I start targeting Evans.
So on that note, and these numbers are from Sumer Sports. The Bucks offense, they go 11 personnel, so that's one running back, one tight end, 72.6% of the time. They go 12 personnel, 23.8% of the time, and then 13 2.2. So yeah, that 12 personnel, that number could get juiced up a little bit there.
Yeah.
And kind of on that note, how they're kind of planning on attacking this game. They are, and these numbers are from that same Sumer Sports. Their early down rush efficiency, which they love to do. They love to just run the ball and do terrible on first and second down, and then get a third down. They're through the air, and it shows by this early down rush efficiency. They are 31st in the league with negative 0.22 EPA
Oh
per
boy.
play. And then on late down pass efficiency, they are 4th in the NFL with a 0.31 EPA. So like it shows. It's incredibly clear what their game plan is, and they will not go away from it. One thing that is going to kind of play into the Eagles' hands, maybe, is that the Buccaneers are 23rd in motion rate, especially given the ability for the lack of ability for this Eagles defense, specifically the linebackers, to line up in the correct spot. Having a lack of motion is going to be good because any amount of motion at all, even if a running back switches from like in shotgun, if Rashad White goes from Baker's right side to his left side, you're going to see Nick Morrow's eyes cross through the camera. Like it's going to be brutal there. Baker does have the 7th quickest time to throw in the NFL. I think it's like 2.9. No, I can't remember what it is, but it is the 7th quickest time to throw. So that's kind of a frightening thing, especially with the lack of a pass rush. One of my sneaky kind of matchups here was going to be between Josh Sweat and Tristan Wirfs.
Yes, absolutely.
He's easily the best player on their offensive line, and Josh Sweat has kind of been a no-show since the bye week. And in their first game, the pressure that the Eagles were getting on through the Bucks offensive line was Jalen Carter, was Marlon Tuipulotu, was Milton Williams and Fletch. Like that's where they were coming from. So that's kind of what we got. Oh, that was the other thing about this. In that week 3 game, that was also the game that was right after Avonte Maddox tore his pec. So this is actually going to be Avonte Maddox's first game back, or first game playing the Buccaneers this year. And in that game, the Eagles defense had James Bradbury go to slot nickel, and they had Josh Jobe be on the outside. And in that game, Chris Godwin, like you brought up, did not have a great game. 3 catches for 32 yards, as long as 18, so that made up over half of it in that game. So yeah, different scheme that he's going to be going against, different guy that he's going to that Chris Godwin's going to be going against. That's going to be man, I don't even want to call it a matchup because he's just going to win.
What's the one that maybe not the Evans one, but the matchup that you're really, really locking in on in the sense of this might swing the game?
Oh, it's going to be who is their left guard? Let me pull that up real quick because it's going to be Jalen Carter. That for me, if this game's going to be won, it's going to be 1 second. It's going to be on. I mean, obviously, it's going to be on that line of scrimmage, which is kind of frightening because they've again been no shows for a pretty good recent chunk of the year. But yeah, I think that this game has to go through Jalen Carter. This game was the one where Jalen Carter kind of put his name on the map for against Cody Mock. Cody Mock, really?
Mock's good,
and he's got no teeth.
He does not have teeth. No, I agree with that. In this, and also the added factor to it is the Eagles' defensive line just hasn't been as good as it was from that first game, right? Like they've slowed down.
Oh, easily.
So if they can regain that form, if they can regain that juice that they've had, yeah, they absolutely can swing a game in their favor. It's just a matter of, can they get there? Can they regain that form?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that'll have to do with matchup eagle to eagle. Hassan Reddick versus Matt Patricia's play calls. Because if Matt Patricia keeps having Hassan Reddick drop into coverage, buddy, that's a dumb shit thing to do.
Why is that a thing? Why is that a thing now?
Because the Eagles beat the Patriots and put up a humiliating number of points in the Super Bowl, and Matt Patricia is a sleeper agent trying to tank the Eagles season. I don't know. What other thing can you do? What's worse? What's worse? Matt Patricia's Patriots offense last year or Matt Patricia's Eagles defense this year?
I think the Patriots offense is still worse.
Yeah, but that was also with Joe Judge. So at least he's only 50% for that. He's 100% for this.
Fair. Very fair.
I don't know. It's not good. Do you want to get into the defensive needs, hopes, and wants?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let me pull this. Oh, nope. It is a banner, and it is defensive needs. I don't know where the hell it went. Defensive needs. What is your first or your if you have multiple? What is your defensive need for this game?
I mean, you kind of alluded to it, right? Dominate the line of scrimmage. Like this, it's win or go home. Your coach might get fired if you lose this game.
Yep.
Fight back. But in all seriousness, this is the type of game where Wirfs is fantastic, but the Eagles can exploit the interior of Tampa Bay's offensive line simply because they're more talented than them. Not for any scheme related thing, not for, something relating to stunts. No, the Eagles simply have the better players. And unfortunately, that hasn't shown through yet. Whether in the Giants games or the Cardinals game, units that they should have been dominating, the Eagles have not been dominating. In order for the Eagles to truly take command of this game, they need their defensive line to get back to where it was in that first matchup. I know that probably seems really simple on the surface level, but we talked about it all offseason, right? This is arguably, or should be, one of the best units on this entire roster. A lot of this team's success is predicated on what this defensive line is doing. Yep. When they're going good, you've seen the results. You've seen how far the Eagles can go. When they haven't been performing as they have been the past few weeks, you also see those results. You see that they're struggling. You see that they're not able to do as many things on defense because without that pressure getting home, now your linebackers getting exploited and now your secondary is getting exploited. So, yeah, I don't think it's even a question.
Yeah, in again, every one of these, I try to move the goalposts with how the Eagles season is going. And since it is a win or go home, I don't want to spoil my prediction for the end of this. I need to see Fletch and Brandon Graham. I need to see them produce. In what I don't want to again. I'll call it now. And what is going to end up being probably their last game. I want to see them produce. That's what I need. I need to see them. I need to see them do their thing. And again, if they do that, maybe it won't be their last game. But that's where I'm at. Yeah, again, it is all that defensive line. I have no faith in anything else. Slay coming back, does that give you a little bit of juice? Not a whole lot, because they just won't throw at him. Problem solved.
Attack Bradbury, right?
Yeah.
Like why throw at the better corner? You've seen it with other teams.
The last 4 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Defensive want. What is your defensive want?
Force a turnover. I'm pretty sure I said this for the Giants game. I might have said a touchdown, but force a turnover. Baker Mayfield is Baker Mayfield for a reason. He is aggressive for better and for worse. Take advantage of that. Force a turnover. Swing the momentum for the game in your favor, and things I think could go well for them.
Baker Mayfield, 10 interceptions on the year. His first one of the season, actually. He was completely clean, unscathed, if you will, from any kind of turnover until Reed Blankenship picked him off in week 3. So, that could be a thing. But yeah, he's thrown 3 interceptions and he's fumbled the ball 3 times. He has not lost a fumble, though. For me, my defensive want, no, because that's going to be my hope. Rookies. I want rookies. I want the rookies on the field. I know I'm not going to have it, but I want the rookies on the field. I want the rookies to be able to get some playoff experience. That way they can have that going forward. I feel like, again, I don't think we're going to see Ringo much, if at all. But that's what I want. I feel like that's not too much to ask for. But I don't get what I want ever. Defensive hopes.
Hold Tampa Bay to 20 points or less.
Over under for the Tampa Bay's team total is 21.5 points right now.
That line. I think if you hold them to 20 or less, you win. If you don't, I think you lose.
Yeah. You're right. There's nothing other to say than that. My hope. Line up. Line up. Just line up.
Just line up. That's
Just
it.
Line up. Just line
so
up.
What?
Line up. Line up on 40% of the snaps. I'm not asking for all of them. I know that won't happen.
Hold on. What would the alternative to that be?
Like the communication where Morrow and Cunningham and everybody else are there's one play, I think that was against the Cardinals, where there was communication happening during the snap. The ball got snapped, nobody responded at all, and then 3 people ended up following a motion man, and it was a walk-in touchdown for James Conner. I think that was actually their last touchdown. Is now I'm trying to picture it. Yeah, so just line up. I'm not again. You've broken me. You've broken me, Eagles defense. You've broken me.
Line up.
Just line up. Because you can't do whatever the hell Matt Patricia wants you to do unless you line up. Or only run cover 2 all game. I hope that happens too. Just an incredibly basic thing. Nothing. Don't get crazy. Just line up though. That's all I'm asking for. Do you have anything else on this defense, or you want to get the hell past this?
Pray.
I
guess I look.
God can't save us.
There really isn't much left to say about the defense besides hold them to 20 points or less, and I think you'll be okay. Otherwise, good luck. I don't know.
It's not good. It's not. It's so bad. It's so bad. I just want the pain to be over. We'll call this game the Dr. Kevorkian game. Just mercy kill. Okay. Eagles offensive matchups to Buccaneers defensive matchups. There's one that I have in my mind, and it encapsulates the entirety of the Eagles offense, and that is Antoine Winfield Jr. All-Pro Antoine Winfield Jr. I said this yesterday. He leads their team. Here, I can pull it up to make sure I'm correct on all of this. He leads their team in passes defended with 12, 3 interceptions. Leads the team. Leads the team in forced fumbles with 6, fumble recoveries with 4. He's second on their team in total tackles. The guy's amazing. The guy's amazing. He plays everywhere. He plays with his hair on fire. He doesn't care if the ball's in the air. He doesn't care if somebody's holding on to the ball. He doesn't care if he's in the backfield or in the defensive backfield, and he wants to be in the offensive backfield. The guy's incredible. And the Eagles can't pick up a blitz. So that's my biggest one. Is there anybody else that you're thinking of?
I mean, the linebackers, whether it be like Levante David or Devin White, I didn't fully look at their stats, but even if they're not having the best years, those are still guys you got to be wary of. Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean. I mean, those are they're 2 corners on the outside. Haven't been having the best years, but these are 2 guys with plenty of playoff experience. So
right,
I'd be a little bit wary of them.
Do they have rings? Did they get Super Bowl rings? Have they been on there since then?
I think so.
Okay.
But look, at the end of the day, yeah, avoid the all-pro safety, and I think that's at least a great start to your game plan.
One good thing about this matchup with the Eagles offense to the Buccaneers defense is that the Buccaneers, they love them some single high coverage. They love it. They are big fans of just having one guy back there. And if there's one thing that this Eagles offense can pick on is that single high coverage. Yeah, they're going to mix in some cover 2s and 4s and stuff like that, but they love them some single high coverage. So things could open up for wide receivers. And if A.J. Brown's healthy, he'll have a game. If not, he will be surely missed. Do you fear Vita Vea?
No. I mean, like, let me rephrase it. It's not that I don't fear Vita Vea. I'm confident in the Eagles' ability to shut him down.
Yeah. I think it's been shown. Well, what would you say was better in the regular season? Would you say the Eagles' wide receivers or the offensive line?
Probably the offensive line for the most part. But like my whole thing is, in terms of the blitz stuff, I feel like that's more on Jalen and really like the scheme rather than the offensive line. Because, look, if you're not in max protect, sometimes you're just outgunned. Like, if they're sending 7 and you have 5 in pass blocking, there's not much you can do with that.
Yeah. And Buccaneers blitz the 3rd most in the league. Let me see if I can pull up.
Hey, it's the Todd Bowles special.
It is.
That's him. That's him.
The man loves it. One good thing. Wait, no, that's their offense. Trying to scroll down to their defense. Why is my computer doing this? They are 21st in EPA allowed per play. They're 25th in EPA allowed per pass, and only 6th in EPA allowed per rush. So I mean, they're going to be vulnerable.
This is the thing, right? It's very interesting because with Vita Vea on the field, and I specifically say with Vita Vea on the field because I'm not 100% sure if he played in that first matchup.
He did, but he did not do. I mean, they ran the ball. They did zone runs to the outside and just avoided him.
With him on the field, it's going to be hard-ish to run the ball. They proved they can do it before. I bet the Buccaneers will be ready for it this time.
Right.
So this plays right into the hands of a Eagles offense that seemingly is in love with trying to hit the big plays. Now, the big plays might be there because of the way Tampa Bay runs their defense and the way their secondary has been this season. My concern is with both your top receivers hobbled and your quarterback dealing with an injury on his throwing hand.
Wearing a glove
in
the rain.
Is that your best way of winning the ball game? I'd say probably not. But if I know anything about the Eagles from what they've shown, it's that they're still going to try and pass the ball no matter what the situation is. Hell, they could be playing in Kansas City or Buffalo
Right.
with 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. They would still try to throw the ball 40 times. So no matter how good Swift or Gainwell or Penny or Boston Scott have been, no matter how dominant their offensive line has shown they can be, no matter the fact that they have literally proven in this season that they can run the ball against Tampa Bay, there's going to be a point in the game where the Eagles are dominating the run game and they just
Abandon it.
inexplicably decide to start passing.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to lose my goddamn mind. That's gonna be great. Are you worried at all about Jalen's ball security with a bad finger?
No, I'm worried about him actually throwing the football
Okay.
because, like, here's the thing, right? It's one thing to go through practice and to throw the ball in practice. The minute you have NFL caliber defensive linemen barreling down at you,
And they will be very, very frequently.
because of the way Todd Bowles plays, right? It's two things. Jalen Hurts has one of the best mentalities in the NFL. He's like the equivalent to the NFL's Iron Man. The dude just he's unmatched in terms of mentality in the league. Every person, though, when they're nicked up and injured or have something wrong, there's always that little thing in the back of your head where it's like you have that bit of hesitation. When you have that on your throwing hand and you're throwing the football as guys are sticking their hands up, my wonder is what is the hesitation with him in that regard? Is
Right.
he now a little bit off? Because in the back of his head, he's like, I don't want to hit my finger again and now be knocked out of this game. It can't help my team. And then number two, how does he respond to getting hit? Because if we know anything about the Eagles and their ability to pick up blitzes, they're not very good at it. So Jalen's going to take hits and he's going to have to get back up. And with that finger being on his throwing finger,
Jesus.
I'm a lot more concerned than if it was on his non-throwing hand.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We saw did what's his name? Did Justin Herbert have a fracture or was that a dislocation?
It was Justin Fields.
No. Well, because remember, I'm talking about non-throwing
Oh,
hand.
Herbert, yeah. It was
Yeah.
it was a fracture, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, and then
I mean,
the Justin Fields thing was on his thumb, so like that's obviously more important for that. But ugh.
look, the Herbert thing still affected him, but all it really did, in a sense, was he couldn't be as mobile.
Right. Every time he went to the ground, he had his hand up like this.
Right. If it was Jalen, so you just have to throw the ball more. Okay.
Right.
With it being on his throwing hand now, you take one bad hit to the hand, Marcus Mariota's in this game. Like, that is the unfortunate reality of this situation. This is a guy who I think he's one of the coolest players in the league. He did not throw the ball until late in the week. He's wearing a glove on his hand, as you said, in the rain.
Ugh.
And there is the possibility that he could take a big hit. I'm not trying to be just this, oh, the sky is falling, Chicken Little type person. This is football. People get hurt out of the blue. When you're coming into a game with a pre-existing injury, you are running that risk considerably more so than most players.
On probably a pre-existing injury on probably one of the more yes, the most significant limb of his body.
Yeah, and you want to build on it, right? What happens with his follow through?
Right.
Is he now stopping short because he doesn't want to hit his hand? Like,
I would.
These are things that could happen because like that type of injury is so delicate.
Right.
Like it's not like a knee, right? Or an ankle or something where it's like you already hurt it, so it's like the worst you could do is break it. Right? Like you already have that finger injury. You hit that the wrong way,
That's
you're
tough.
in trouble.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, it's Jalen Hurts.
Right,
but that's the thing you can't take away from it. It's so crazy.
That's my point. It's like it's Jalen Hurts. He's unlike most players in the NFL. In the sense of as much as other guys tough through things, he's another level. My whole thing is it's a finger injury. It's not like a knee injury like you had earlier. It's not an ankle. It's not a hip. No, it's a finger injury. That is a very weird injury, and it's more important when it's on your throwing hand, as a quarterback at least.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do want to bring one other thing up, and why that could be incredibly significant is because if you're looking for a way that the Eagles can exploit this Buccaneers defense through the air, it's right there. So what we want, so this is the Buccaneers success. So if it's red, that's good for us. It's gonna be there, but if that hand is bothering him, we're looking at some serious issues with the ability to hit those big plays, which is what they're going to be going for, like we said.
It's like it's like a double-edged sword, right? Because this is the matchup more so than any other team they faced in the past few weeks, where it's there. Like you said, it can be exploited. But if you're dropping Jalen back that much, you are now considerably increasing the risk of him getting re-injured.
Yep. It's not good.
No.
It's not good at all.
And
please
and
don't do screens to the right side, I think, is also what this is telling us.
Right. And it's also not just the fact that, oh, you're increasing his injury just because he's throwing the ball. No. This is a team that loves the blitz.
Yeah. His life's going to be an absolute living hell for about 3 hours. Let's do the offensive needs. What do you need out of the offense?
How long do you got? No, in all seriousness, I need a cohesive game plan. Like it's gone from a hope, from a want to a need. A cohesive game plan where the play calling just makes sense. Like,
right.
Go based off what you're seeing. Don't just try to make things happen for the sake of making things happen, right? Actually base that game plan off what you're seeing, what the defense is giving you, and ultimately how your own personnel is performing.
Okay. My need is kind of the same, but almost the exact opposite from yours. Mine is ditch the game plan. Like if they have the game plan and the game plan that they want is like, all right, we're going to take these shots. This is where, but the running, like what we said, if the running game's working, ditch the game plan. So it is cohesive to the game flow. But also, if you planned for this and this other thing is working, I understand that Brian Johnson.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was saying.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, like if you're like, all right, we're gonna absolutely pepper Devontae Smith, but if hell, and we know it's gonna happen, and it's gonna anger everybody, but if Kenny Gainwell breaks off and gets, I don't know, 28 rushing yards in a drive, let's just run. Let's just do that. Let's just keep sticking with that. No need to do anything else that's stupid.
Kyle said in the chat, run the ball.
Run the ball. It's makes the most sense and it makes the least sense, and it's very frustrating. Offensive want.
For the love of God, Brian Johnson, do not spam the Jalen Hurts quarterback sweep play. I get it. Jalen's a great runner of the football. He now is dealing with another injury on top of whatever has been bothering him this year. Please, for the sake of your offense and the sanity of Eagles fans everywhere, do not get Jalen Hurts hurt on a quarterback run. Because if you do, yeah, we'll leave it at that. I pray for you.
Yeah, no, that's good. Especially if he's running through. I don't even want to think about that.
That's another thing we don't bring up. The Jalen Hurts quarterback draw, quarterback sweep play, whether it works or not, that's like they spam that like 5-6 times a game.
Well, they only got 5 plays.
He's dealing with a finger injury, man. Like that's just not. I don't think that's conducive to how do I put it? Success for the Eagles.
Oh, absolutely. My offensive want is crossers. Just crossers. Just
That's
crossers.
it.
Just
That's it.
crosses.
Yeah.
The exact opposite of Ricky Bobby. You just gotta be able to turn left. That's all I'm looking for.
Turn
You
left.
gotta. It's all just crossers in general. The middle of the field's going to be open because you never throw to it. So just crossers. That's what I want. If this passing game's going to work, you're going to have to be able to use the whole field. And if you have a guy crossing the field, it'll work. I'm pretty confident that it'll work, especially if we're talking about blitzing. What is your offensive hope?
This is kind of based off the thing I said a few weeks ago about like switching up a tendency. Do something different, right? You've been so inside zone reliant.
Yep.
Maybe rely on outside zone now. You've barely thrown middle of the field. Maybe abuse the middle of the field for a drive or two. You've been so reliant on the the tush push and just trying to get to short yardage. Switch it up. Maybe try to get the first down on second down or first down, right? Work in some tendency breakers. We all know it's not going to happen,
Right.
but
So-
work in some tendency breakers to where Tampa now has to think about things in different situations. Where now it's not just like, oh, Philadelphia always goes to this, and yes, it works. But now, if you put them on their toes, maybe that play you always use in that spot, when you go back to it later in the game, it works even better.
I like that. So you're essentially hoping for Ocho Cinco to be right. You're hoping that they've been playing possum this entire time and running terrible, terrible plays and doing terrible, terrible things just to play possum. And now that it's the postseason, they're going to be like, all right, now's the offense.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, that is a big hope. I hope I oft hope Ocho Cinco is correct.
There's a reason it's in this category. It's because it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But hey, it'd be cool to see.
Okay. I have two hopes. And one of them is the polar opposite from what it's been for the past 3 weeks. My first hope is brotherly shove. That's listen, I understand where we're at with this season. I understand what's at stake. I understand what's at line, the changes that may come in the future. I want to see a good brotherly shove. Because it's a Jason Kelce play. And in all reality, this could very well be Jason Kelce's last game that he plays as a Philadelphia Eagle. Like this could be it. And that play works because of Jason Kelce. If we're going to do it, I want to do it. I want to see it. I want that to be the lasting memory. I want to be like, this run game works because of him, and this play works specifically because of Jason Kelce. Because after this, who knows if that play is going to have near the success rate that it does currently. So that's one of my hopes is for the Jason Kelce game. My other hope, and Kyle, love you. Love that you tune in all the time, buddy. I love that. I love that you do that. I hope that the irony here is kind of what I'm going towards. You did spell blitz wrong, and I think that might also be that maybe this is a high level thing. Maybe you're like, this is how the Eagles offense spells the word blitz whenever they're trying to think of blitz protections. And then when it happens, they act like they've never seen it in their entire lives. I'm hoping that there is a play off of a blitz. That's what I'm hoping for. The Eagles, I think I saw something on Twitter. I can't remember who tweeted it out. The Eagles are like top 3 this year in throwaways. Because that's the blitz coming. Jalen Bales throws a long ball down the sidelines out of bounds. I'm just hoping, and this kind of goes in with that crossing thing that I wanted. If you can get that, I know there's been a lot of talk on the internet this week about hot routes and stuff and the Eagles offense's lack of them. I'm hoping that a play can be made off of a blitz.
Big hope.
I'm well aware. I'm well aware. I'm well aware. Hell, the Olamide Zaccheaus touchdown in week 3, that came off of a blitz. That when Jalen threw Olamide Zaccheaus open 34 yards down the field, that was off of a blitz too. Where did that go? Where are we? Why are we this way? Why Why am I sad week in, week out? It's been a month of sadness. It's awful. So yeah, that's my offensive hope. Do you have anything else on this offense?
Find a way to move the ball against a bad defense,
You gotta.
please. Like, once again, we can talk about all the little things and all the different matchups. It boils down to you got to move the ball against a bad defense, and you got to shut down somebody on defense once.
Yeah, no, and there's no reason to believe that the defense is going to be able to do that. So yeah, the moving the ball is kind of the necessary thing here, and I think that'll be good. Let us get into our predictions.
Do you want me to go first? Or do you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. I don't think they're winning this game.
Nope.
I hate to be blunt. I really wish I felt better about them winning this game. The long and short of it is 3 weeks ago, when they were about to start this stretch against the Giants twice and the Cardinals, I was like, look, you need to have positive momentum heading into the postseason. You need to impose your will and show that you are a team that's good enough to not only make the playoffs, but win in the playoffs. To put it quite frankly, they failed miserably in that aspect. Absolutely miserably. They should have lost all 3 games. They lost 2 of 3, right? This is a Buccaneers team that, for all their defensive woes, and they've had plenty this year, they are a better team than Arizona and the Giants. There's a reason they're in the playoffs and those teams are not. However you feel about the NFC South, Buccaneers have a really good offense. They have a defense that has the talent to be really good, but simply hasn't been. And I'm just not confident in what I've seen from Philadelphia, right? I don't have the confidence that they can shut down the Tampa Bay passing attack. No matter how you feel about Baker Mayfield, right? Kyler was struggling immensely before the Eagles game. He had the best game of his season. Tyrod, who I don't think I've seen play a good game in like 2 years.
Yeah,
absolutely carved up Philadelphia, right? So you have a defense that literally can't stop a cold, and you have an offense led by one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but let's face it, one that's hampered. You have 2 receivers that are dealing with nagging injuries, and worse than all of it, you have one of the worst play callers, I feel like, as of recent, not the entire year, but as of recent in the league. So you put all those factors together, and I just don't think they can win. I truly don't. I think this is a close game. I think this is a 27-20 or a 35-28 type game, but
okay.
I don't see the Eagles defense shutting down Tampa Bay. And while I do think the Eagles will put up some points, I ultimately don't think that they will come out on top in this game. And if that happens, this is going to be one of the weirdest and also most important off seasons this team has had in recent memory.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be a rough couple of weeks. I agree. I think that the Eagles will not win this game. I do agree. I think that they will not. I think that this will be the end of a Jason Kelce. I think that if they lose, I don't think that they're going to bring Brandon Graham back. I think Fletch will be gone if Brandon Graham leaves. But I believe that they're going to win. I believe that they're going to win this game. I don't think they're gonna, but I got this thing in me that this is going to be a Jake Elliott win.
Okay.
That's what I have in me. Everything that you said makes the most sense in the world. Everything that you said makes the most sense in the world. But the fact of the matter is that, and I don't want to try to bring a different thing into it, but the Eagles are favored in this game beyond everybody's stretch of imagination. Baker Mayfield is hurt. He's got ribs and he's got an ankle. Maybe we see Kyle Trask in this game. Maybe there's something like that. Maybe we get a tip ball interception. Maybe we get something like that. But what I believe is that this game is going to end up being a 31-28 Eagles win. It's going to be disgusting. The Buccaneers are going to move the ball left and right. Maybe, you know what? It's going to be a 3-point game. I think it's going to be a push. I believe the Eagles are going to push this. But no, I don't think it'll be what will that be? A 38-35 win. That's what I believe this. I think that you're 100% correct. I truly, truly do. But I believe that this team is going to win against a bad team. I know they haven't. I know that they've proven that they can lose to every single team in this NFL. They've lost to two of the bottom 8 teams in the NFL in the last 3 weeks, whatever the hell it's been. But damn it, I think that this could be the legacy game where they get together and save Nick and then make 2024 an absolute living hell for us. I don't think that this hell's going to end here. I think that this is the making of a very, very tough stretch led by Nick Sirianni coming back next year. So, while yes, positive in the short term, buddy, gut it out because it's going to be a long year.
This will be a great conversation to have after this game because no matter what the result, like, let's be honest with ourselves, unless this team completely just flips a switch, I don't see how they're beating Dallas or San Francisco, whoever they end up playing, most likely.
So I believe if the Packers win, the Eagles will play the winner of the Lions-Rams game. If the Packers lose, let me make sure I have this right. I have this written down somewhere.
If the Packers lose, I'm pretty sure they play the Cowboys.
Let's see. Okay,
because they're the highest wild card.
If Eagles would play the winner of the Lions Rams if the Packers beat Dallas. Yeah. All right. If the Lions win the game, Eagles go to Detroit. If the Rams win, Rams come to Philly. If the Packers lose, if the Cowboys beat the Packers, the Eagles just play the Cowboys.
Yeah. In
Dallas. But there's another one. Maybe if the Lions win, then the Eagles play the 49ers. Whatever the hell it is, it's not good, and they're going to get absolutely decimated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. It probably would be.
Do I have this? I still have. Okay, here we go. I have the playoff machine up right now. Okay. Green Bay wins. Rams win. Rams come to Philly. Green Bay wins. Lions win. Eagles go to Detroit. Cowboys win. Rams win. Eagles go to Dallas. Cowboys win. Lions win. Eagles go to San Francisco.
Oh boy.
None of those are good. None of those are good things. None of those are good things at all. But I know there's the thought that the Buccaneers looked like absolute hot garbage in Week 18 against the Panthers. That's a divisional game too. Yeah, the Panthers are a historically terrible team, but that's a divisional game too. You can't just displace that.
The Eagles had 2 tight games against the Commanders.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. You can't displace that. So that's where I'm at with that. Do you want to do headlines next week, or do you want to try not to manifest anything?
I need to just see this game through, and then we can talk about every possible headline we can go through because I'm sure there will be plenty of them either way.
I think that's correct. Who do you let's do this just real quick. Just if you just want to do a pick, or if you have a couple sentences to say before it. Who do you have in the Packers-Cowboys game?
I think it's close, but I think Cowboys ultimately win.
Cowboys, because Packers are 7-point dogs.
The Packers defense is horrible. Absolutely horrendous.
It's not good. Yeah, I think that's true. It's going to be Cowboys at home, but it's also the Packers against the Cowboys. So who knows? Who do you have against with Rams-Lions?
I'm going with Rams just because I'm a leaning experience there. But I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah, that's gonna be probably the best game of the week. That's the most juice-filled game. Matt Stafford coming back to kill Detroit, which is gonna be great. For some psychopaths. Do you have anything else? Do you have any closing remarks on what could potentially be the last show of the season?
Not really. Eagles got to find a way to win. though. If they want this Sirianni era to continue, they got to find a way to win.
Mine would be, I'm sad.
That's fair. That's very fair.
I'm sad. I want the Eagles to win this game. I do. I'm going to be losing my voice on Monday night, but I also just want this pain to be over. I just put me out. Bring me out back. I'm not saying bring me out back behind the barn and shoot me. I'm just saying it's going to be cold outside. Put me outside and lock the door. Just end it. That's where I'm at. But also, if they win, cool. But also, just murder me, please. That's where I'm at. Thank you guys very much for joining us. This is the end of Wild Card Week. You know what? Maybe it's not. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow if something changes on the injury report, and I'll do like a quick 5-10 minutes on or something like that, and we can completely discard the entire first 15 minutes that we had of the show. That would be cool if we could get rid of that. If that happens, thumbs up. I'm great. I'm willing to spend 10 or 15 minutes out of my day tomorrow to be like, hey, we're fine. We're good. We're happy now. If that doesn't happen, damn it. But thank you guys very much for joining us this week. The Eagles play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. And buddy, it's going to be a game is the way to say it. Thank you guys very much. Again, that's Brandon Pockris. My name is Jake Beckman. Go Birds.